to my second ever makeup tutorial. This one's for my current everyday makeup look. So yeah, it's very simple, very easy to do. You can change a bunch of little things and tailor it to your tastes, your preferences. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Okay, so I've done my foundation and concealer and my brows. I don't have a brow routine, but if you'd like me to film one, then please let me know, because I'd be more than happy to do that. I'm really chuffed I finally got my brows the way I want them. And I will link my foundation and concealer routine in the description box down below. So let's make a start on the eyes. Okay, so to start off with, you're going to want to take that precise blending brush and this little contour shade here. You can also use your bronzer shade if you prefer to use bronzer rather than contour. Basically, this is just you know, a base shade to put in and above your crease so that everything's going to be easier to blend together, but this also adds a decent amount of color to the look. I should also add that I haven't used a specific eye primer today. On an everyday basis, I tend to just use my concealer and set it with the same translucent powder that I use on the rest of my face. For me, that works great. So you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of money on a really expensive eye primer when you're not using particularly bright shadows, or you know, when you don't want a particularly vibrant look. This kind of relatively natural look, yeah, concealer works fine for me. Okay, so with that contour shade, you just want to start at the outer corner, and if you look sort of down your nose at your mirror, you can kind of see where your crease sits, and it allows you to get around any folds in your eye, especially if you have hooded eyes like me. So what I tend to do is just look down my nose in the mirror, so if you hold your mirror lower, and angle the brush upwards so that it's going against the sort of underside of your eye socket, and just windshield wiper motion that back and forth. And of course, as with any eyeshadow look, blend, blend, blend. Once most of the shadow is off the brush and onto your skin, you can bring it up just a little higher to diffuse it a little more. But don't worry about like getting rid of any harsh lines, because we're gonna go back with that massive fluffy blending brush and smooth everything out anyway. So for me, that's plenty. And again, don't worry if it looks a little heavy to start with. We are gonna go back over it and smooth everything out, clean up the edges, that sort of thing. This is just about laying down the color. I also tend to try and make the color a little darker at the outer edge and sort of less prominent through towards the inner part of my eye. I find that just kind of gives a really nice shape to the overall look when you're finished. Next, I'm going to go into the Too Faced Natural Matte Palette, and I'm using Sexpresso. I love that name. It's just this dark brown here. So any kind of like really nice dark brown is going to work for this. So long as it's significantly darker than the shade that you just put in your crease, it'll work fine. So you just want to take a tiny amount of that on your brush, because this is not something you want to overdo, and apply that quite precisely right into your crease. And if you have hooded eyes like me, you want to go just above your crease. It'll start off very light, and you can build it up as much as you want. So what I've applied there, I mean, you can barely see it, but it definitely makes a difference to the overall look. So I'm just picking up a little bit more and adding it to the outer edge. Again, you want to have deeper color in the outer edge and blend it through to the inner part of your eye, so that most of the color is on the outer corner. And just gently blend that in. Then you want to take your massive fluffy blending brush, and I'm picking up a little bit of the shade called Heaven in the Too Faced Natural Matte Palette, this one here. It's just a plain creamy white. And you can pick up a fair amount of that on your brush, and we're going to use that to blend out the edges of everything and just make it a little less in your face. So you just use that in little circular motions, back and forth all around the edge, and it just blends everything really seamlessly, so that the shadow you applied first just looks like it disappears. Picking up that white shadow just adds a little something that's going to make it easier to blend everything out. So you can see there's a massive difference now between this one and this one. This one looks quite harsh, and this one looks a lot more seamless. By picking up that white shadow, you're essentially using powder to push powder around. Now you want to pick up your pencil brush and grab that same very dark shade that we put precisely into the crease, and we're going to dab that just on the outer third of the actual eyelid and blend it into where you put it in the crease. And then take that right up to the crease. where you applied that darker shade before. You don't have to worry about blending any of it at this point, we're just placing it. So then you take that precise blending brush again, clean it off on the back of your hand or your wrist so that you can make sure it doesn't have too much, you know, excess shadow on it from before, because you don't want to add any shadow at this point. Then you just want to go back in those windshield wiper motions again into the crease and blend what you've just put in the outer corner through the crease again so that it all looks nice and seamless. Just like this. You just want to make sure you don't touch the parts that are actually on your lid, because we need that to stay where it is. Depending on the shadows you use, you might have to blend for quite a while, but don't get discouraged if that's the case and it's not looking as seamless as it should. Just keep blending. And if you find that you overblend and your shadows aren't visible enough, you can simply add more. And then, because that tends to take some off, you just want to grab a tiny amount on that pencil brush again and reapply it. Because often when you're doing all this blending, you can lose some of the color in the process. So now I'm gonna go into my Makeup Revolution Iconic 3 palette. And for this part, you can use any you know, glittery or metallic shade that takes your fancy, really. I'm choosing a shade that matches the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil that I'm using. You don't have to match them, but you do want the shade that you use in your inner corner to be lighter than what you put on your lid if they're different. For me, I'm just making them the same because frankly, it's easier. So the shade I'm picking up out of this palette is this gorgeous bronzy gold shade here. So the easiest way I find to apply lid shades is with my finger. So I use my ring finger on my right hand and then just dab it on my lid. You want to apply it up to where that outer corner shade starts. And you also want to make sure that you don't take it up too high, because you don't want to have that shimmery shade in the crease. It's one of my worst habits, actually, applying these shades too high. And then when you get to where that outer corner shade starts, just use your finger to kind of dab back and forth a little bit so that there isn't a sharp line between the two. I find this kind of warm bronzy gold shade really complements green or blue eyes really nicely. Next, you want to pick up your black eyeliner, and we're just going to line the top lash line. If you have hooded eyes, you want to make sure this is a fairly thin line so that you don't hide too much of that gorgeous shimmery shade on the lid when your eyes are open. I also find that on me it looks best if I stop this line just sort of 2/3 of the way along. I also tend to make the line thicker towards the outer corner because it helps make my lashes look thicker on the outer corner. I really like the kind of slightly lengthening effect that has on my eyes. If it helps as well, when you're doing eyeliner like this, you can just place your little finger on your cheek, and I find that really helps to steady my hand. Just anchoring it like that. Now you want a tight line, so that means applying you know, any kind of eyeliner really, in my case black, to the top lash line, so just behind your eyelashes. A lot of people find this really difficult, so of course this is totally optional. I just like that it makes my lashes look thicker because I have quite sparse, quite tiny eyelashes. So the easiest way I find to do it is you want to look away from where you're applying it so that, you know, your iris and your pupil aren't sort of confronted with this ridiculous thing that isn't supposed to be near your eye, realistically. So I just tend to angle away and then apply it very carefully. Yeah. And I just drew on my nose. Of course I did. And when I tightline, I carry it all the way into where the tear duct starts, unlike lining my top lash line, where I stop 3/4 of the way along. 2/3 of the way along, rather. There we go. So you can already see what a difference that makes. My lashes already look like they're actually there. And now I'm going to apply this NYX Jumbo pencil to my bottom waterline. I find these NYX Jumbo eye pencils actually stay really nicely in my waterline. It's probably because it's technically eyeshadow in a cream format, so it dries, it sets really nicely. It's kind of like how you apply black eyeshadow over black eyeliner in your waterline to make it stay better. I think this has a similar effect. Okay, then I'm going to continue that and just literally draw around my tear duct. And you can see that merges into that lid shade really nicely. Although the lid shade is a little more rose gold than pure gold, I find they blend in really nicely together. Okay, now because I'm literally incapable of applying mascara to my bottom lash line without making a colossal mess, I'm gonna do my mascara before I do anything on the bottom lash line. My holy grail, awesome, gorgeous mascara. Okay, now the bit that I will inevitably make a mess doing. And of course, now that I've done so well with this one, I'm probably gonna screw up this one really badly. Yep, there we go. I'm just gonna add an extra coat to my top lashes. And when I do this, I tend to add most of the mascara to the base of my lashes and try to leave the ends mostly alone, and it helps to avoid that spidery look, while also making your lashes look nice and thick at the base. Oh my god, I love this mascara. Nothing else makes my lashes look like this apart from this gorgeous mascara. What I tend to do after that is also just press my lashes to add to the curl that I get from them, because I don't curl my lashes. I don't use a lash curler. I don't find I need to. This does enough for me. I also love how fast this mascara dries. Like, there's very little coming off on my finger now, and I just applied it. Now you want to grab some cotton buds, and I love this little doodad. It is so cute, and it means I don't have to have like a whole box of cotton buds out on the bathroom counter all the time. I got this for I think like $1 on eBay. I'll add the link in the description box in case anyone wants to get one too. They're so cute. Okay, so you're just going to use a cotton bud to clean up the mascara under your bottom lash line. And you want to be gentle doing this as well. If you wait until the mascara dries, it's a lot easier to remove. So you can just gently sort of brush this across the skin and it'll just lift those dry pieces of mascara. Ta-da! Now we're going to go back to that pencil brush. And because I tend to find that with my hooded eyes, if I apply too much dark stuff underneath my eyes, it makes them look very heavy and dragged down. So on an everyday basis, I don't tend to apply black eyeliner to my bottom lash line. I just tend to get that same really dark brown shadow that I put in the crease in the outer third on my pencil brush, just a little bit, and just apply that to like the outer half, maybe. Half to 2/3 of my bottom lash line. And you want to keep it really close in as well. It's just a little bit gentler than applying black liner, but you still get that depth that you would get using the liner as well. If you want to make your eyes look really nice and open, then just apply this to the outer third. And you want to make it the thickest at the outer corner and then thinner and thinner as you go in. Then you want to get that precise blending brush from before. I always go to say blending blush. Okay, and again, make sure there's no like excess shadow on it. And then just use that to gently blend the edges so that you don't have like a harsh, thick line under your eyes. Okay, and that's the eyes done. You can, of course, add black liner to, you know, the outer third or half, or however far along you want, if you want to. I just choose not to because, like I said, with my hooded eyes it tends to drag everything down. I tend to apply that dark brown shadow as far in on the bottom lash line as I did on the top lash line. I find that balances things really nicely. Okay, so that's the eyes done. Now I'm going to move on to blush, contour, and highlight. For contour, as I said before, I use the NYX Powder Blush in Taupe. I just find this is perfect for really, really pale skin. And I use the Real Techniques sculpting brush, this one here. I really like how this applies it. It sort of blends it out for you, I guess, which is really, really nice. Anything that involves less effort is always nice. I just apply it really high up, right under my cheekbone, like this. Wow, that's coming up a lot sharper on camera than it looks in real life. And then you can use the same brush flat to blend it up. And if you do your contouring in natural light, it makes it a lot easier to see where you should define your cheekbone. There's a nice sort of golden rule as well with contouring that you don't want to take it further in than the corner of your eye. Because if you take it further in than that, it can make you look kind of sucked in and a bit sunken. There we go. The lighting at the moment with my camera is making it look like this is a lot darker than this side, but I promise they're even. Then for blush, I'm going into my Cheekathon blush palette from Benefit. I've been using this like non-stop lately. It's just been where I've gone for blush every single day. I think today I'm going to go for the Coralista blush because the gold tones on my eye and the rose gold on the lid, I think this will complement it really nicely. So I just pick up a tiny bit of blush, like tapping into it twice. Because I'm so pale, blushes show up really strong on my face. I tend to apply my blush mostly on the outer bit of my cheekbone, because I have really high cheekbones, so if I apply it like just on the apple of my cheek, it looks pretty clownish on me. So with blush, if you're worried about applying too much, just build it up really slowly. You also end up with a lot more blended, seamless results as well, because if you're building it up slowly, you're blending as you go. Also, there's that old rule that a lot of us hear repeated all the time, which is when you apply blush, you smile and then you can see where the apples of your cheeks are. But if you do that, then when you stop smiling, your cheeks drop. So it's actually better to apply it at the high points without grinning, because then that's where they stay. So then what I tend to do, is to make sure everything's quite seamless, is get the same brush that I use to apply my translucent powder and just buff everything a little bit. You don't want to overdo this because you'll end up looking muddy, but I find this just adds a little extra seamlessness to everything. There we go. So that my blush kind of blurs into my contour and it doesn't look so harsh. Now for highlight. This is my favorite bit. I wear highlight every day, no matter how much or how little makeup I'm wearing. I just find it makes me look really luminescent, you know? It makes me look bright and alive and healthy. And as I've said so many times, that's the look I'm going for. So what I use for highlight on a day-to-day basis is the Essence eyeshadow in Apricotta or Apricotta. This was in my April favorites video, I believe. One of the reasons I love it so much is that you can make it look really subtle very easily. It's very difficult to overdo. So using the Real Techniques setting brush, this one here, I love this one for highlight. I just dab it twice in there and then just sweep it very gently back and forth. I'm barely touching my cheek right now. There we go. Nice subtle highlight. I also apply it just above the arch of my brows, which when you're in sunlight has a really nice lifting effect. And just sweep it down my nose as well. I haven't put any extra on the brush before I've done that. It's just whatever's left. I put a tiny dab on the top of my chin, just so that the center of my face is highlighted. And then on my ring finger, I grab a little bit and just dab it on my Cupid's bow. There we go. See, the difference that makes is just, it's nice and subtle, but the overall difference is huge. Now for the last part, lips. So I've applied a little extra of my awesome Holy Grail lip balm, the Cosé Pure Hyaluronic Acid Lip Balm with SPF 20. This little doodad here. I have like 2 backups in my drawer at all times. I love this stuff. Seriously, putting hyaluronic acid in a lip balm is genius. The lip combo I'm going for today is the Rimmel London 1000 Kisses Lip Liner in Wild Clover, number 14. I love this lip liner. Frequently wear this just on its own with a little lip gloss or lip balm over the top. But today I'm wearing the Too Faced Le Creme lipstick in pink chocolate over the top. I got this one with a gift card that Mike's mom gave me for my birthday, and it's such a gorgeous lipstick. So when I apply lip liner, I tend to overline my lips just slightly on one side because my lips are a little uneven. And you always want to make sure that your lip liners and eyeliners are sharp, because if they're blunt, especially with wooden ones, grinding a sharp edge against your lips, and that's damaging the skin, which is going to have an aging effect. Don't worry about overdoing it with the overlining, because you can always go back with a cotton bud and clean it up. I almost always get the line uneven at first and then go back and clean it up. I'm also coloring in my entire lip because I just find my lipsticks last better when I do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna apply my lipstick over the top and then clean it up, and then we're done. I swear this lipstick tastes like chocolate mint. Okay, so now I'm grabbing a cotton bud and cleaning it up. I'm sure any of you with dodgy hands will appreciate always having to do this. It's one of the reasons I love liquid lipsticks, because they're just so easy. Once they're done, they're done. You don't have to reapply them and carry cotton buds with you everywhere you go. And of course you can keep going back and evening things out. Especially when you have a lip liner that matches your lipstick really well. I can finally put my glasses back on. Yeah, and they're dirty! Ta-da! So yeah, this is the final look. Thank you for watching this video, and please hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe so that you don't miss my future videos. I'd love to start doing more and more tutorials. They're so much fun to do. Once again, if you'd like to see my brow routine, please let me know, because I'd be more than happy to film that for you guys, since, as I said, I finally got them the way I really want them. And if there's anything else that you'd like for me to do a tutorial on, just let me know in the comment section. And yeah, I'm so excited to do more tutorials. They really are so much fun to film. You know, plus it's makeup I do anyway, so I may as well share it with you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a fantabulous week. Keep on being your awesome, gorgeous, chronically fabulous selves, and I shall see you guys in my Monday video. Have fun, see ya!